And with only 2 days to go to the Chilean constitutional plebiscite that could change the political landscape in the South American nation, there are still several questions that remain regarding the current situation in Chile. In order to acquire more details on this topic, we receive our correspondent Alejandro Kirk. Alejandro, good night. Are you there?
Yes, Gladys, cheers to you and the teleSUR friends over the Caribbean and the English-speaking world. Yes, in 2 days we are going to have a referendum here, which has been somehow marred by several issues. One of them is repression. 8.5 million people are entitled to vote on Sunday, and it must be said that 6 million of them, 6 million people have been demonstrating all over the country since October 2019. These demonstrations were not organized by any party or even social movements. It was a spontaneous call from the people convoking themselves to the streets in order to change not only the constitution, but using the constitutional change to change the neoliberal system that has been oppressing this country since the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet in the 80s, 70s and 80s. So what is the issue right now is whether these 6 million people, most of them young people who had never voted because of the corruption and the mistrust they feel about the political system in the country, will actually go to vote on Sunday and change the landscape, as you said. And this is still in doubt because this referendum would not be possible without them. This was not part of the program of any of the candidates for the presidency in 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Neither Piñera, of course, nor the center-left coalition that was led by Senator Alejandro Guillet. So these people who don't vote are the ones who are going to decide whether this will be a change or not. If they don't go to vote, and if the approved option does not win a landslide majority, right-wing forces and the forces of the establishment, which are also part of the center-left coalition, will take over. This very referendum was the result of meeting an agreement reached by the forces precisely of the same establishment that the popular movement wants to or hopes to get rid of. And this political establishment has an approval rate of 1 to 2%. And at this approval rate, in a position of 98, 99%, according to the latest polls. So we're going to be on top of the story on Sunday to see whether this will happen or not. Today there were more demonstrations. The government has said that demonstrations are forbidden. But no demonstration since October 2019 has been permitted or allowed. Nobody has asked for permission in the first place. So a new social landscape is taking place in the country, and but the length of time that it will take for real change depends pretty much on what happens tomorrow and then in the election of the constitutional convention next year.
Yes, indeed, Alejandro. And we know that the protests and the social unrest movement has led to this change in the political landscape, as we were saying at the beginning of the interview. But now we have to see the other hand, the other face of this card, for instance. So how the political elites in Chile, how those institutions or those organizations who held the power now are trying to maintain their power, their supremacy, and of course their control facing this new political context.
Well, Gladys, the political elite, I mean the economic elite mainly, are always a minority in every country. So there is no surprise that they're a minority right here as well. That's the base of the whole crisis in the country. The inequalities that mar this country for decades. So, but they are very powerful. Being a minority, they are very powerful. They control the judiciary, they control the government, control the parliament, the economy, and the military. So what has been happening here is that they have been staging a huge campaign of fear in order to promote the idea that voting for a new constitution is voting for anarchy, for chaos. We have seen ads on TV warning of kidnapping of priests, children, communist takeover of private houses and residences and property. So, but this is not new. This has happened everywhere in the world where there is change on the horizon, and the minority, the privileged, try to keep their privileges at any cost. So, if the army, if the police will remain neutral, the police is not neutral. Of course, they have not been neutral all over this process, but the army seems to be reflecting on a different path, because this is not repressing and massacring people, killing scores of people like they did in 1973 through 1990 is not sustainable, not feasible anymore. So they are reflecting too. We have several indications that they are not available for going out to the streets and kill people randomly, and not to be used in order to keep these privileges. And probably they have been voicing their will to promote, to cooperate in reestablishing a new social pact that will get the country out of this crisis and start building a country which is sustainable environmentally, socially, and economically. So, but for the time being, what we have for Sunday is this fear campaign using all the means available, which are pretty much, I mean, they are very rich, they have a lot of money, they control the media. So people have been, this is nothing new either, people have been fighting against this since October 2019, and they are still on the streets. Even today, with a heavy military and police presence on the streets, they have been there. So Sunday is a key turning point for the country. That's what the Chilean people are hoping for.
We know that Sunday, October 25th, is going to be not just a big day for Chilean people, it's a big day for Latin American people. So we thank you, Alejandro, for your presence here from the South.